You were a handsome devil in your younger days.
Absolutely.
You were matinee idol looks.
And that's why I don't wear the mask. I don't want to deprive people of my beautiful looks.
No, but you were. But on that invitation for one of your birthday parties, there are all the pictures of you, and you look like Marlon Brando.
Oh, but I mustn't laugh too much.
Want another cup of tea?
Yeah, love a cup of tea.
Shall I put the kettle on?
My name's Dr. Lindsay Crockett. I'm a GP and I've had the privilege to work here in Suffolk for the past more than 10 years, serving a wonderful community made up of smaller communities. And I've spent the past week with volunteers, compassionate companions and health professionals, listening to some of their shared experiences as part of our Compassionate Communities scheme.
As we now live in an ageing community, that a few more people would call and say, actually I don't feel very well today, would you mind just popping to the shop and getting me a loaf of bread? And you think, yep, that's absolutely fine, not a problem. And then I stumbled across this big void where people were becoming ill, so that they needed dependents, and their dependents weren't around. They were from different villages or different towns. And so they'd impart more on you. They'd, are you free? Do you fancy popping around for a cup of tea?
The thing that I found, that people who were very ill but hadn't sort of opened up about it to anybody, and quite a lot of them were on their own, and I used to come down the pub for company. Because obviously we didn't have the time, but we could put them in touch with somebody, or we could sort of introduce them to somebody in the pub, and then they'd start talking, and then that in itself would give them the support they were looking for.
So many people are living on their own these days, and a lot of people are quite private and quite independent, and those who perhaps need the help are just the ones that don't ask for it.
This is a pilot project that we started nearly 2 years ago, having sought funding from our clinical commissioning group and also a local charity called Hidden Needs. This was having recognised that there was a big need that could be enormously helpful and make a large difference to people who have been diagnosed with life-limiting illnesses.
I said, I don't think we need a neighbourhood watch scheme, because really this is a fairly safe neighbourhood, but what we do need is something to sort of help and look after people, something like a Good Neighbours scheme. We have about 20 volunteers, and we know that the compassionate community can help people and we can refer people on. So in a sense we're a link. I think we're a link to the various utilities and helpfulness and charities that are on offer.
I think all of us have been in this situation like Friday evening, and we've been asked to call a patient who has just been, who's just diagnosed with terminal cancer. So they're dying, they know they're dying, and then we are calling them to say, we need to do this paperwork. So, I mean, they're in a shock, and that's I have to do it, but I mean, it's really cruel. I feel it's really cruel.
Part of our project was to support our volunteers in becoming more confident and aware in the choices that one can make as they near the end of their life. And with the help from the Living Well, Dying Well organisation and Doula UK, we were able to provide some training for them.
We were on a course, and the great thing about the course, the start of the course, was there was professionals from the local community and volunteers from all walks of life. And for me, that's what community is about. People from all walks of life coming together with an intention, the same purpose.
I want to present to you today a scenario. So it's a real life scenario. It's happening to me right now as a care professional. So I want to set the scene, and I want us to do it stage by stage to see what you think, okay? So this is a lady, she's an elderly lady. She lives alone. She's got a terminal diagnosis, recent, and I'm supporting her as a professional to do her advanced care planning. all right? So she lives in a really lovely flat, and she said to me that she loves her flat. She can look out the window and she can see the sea. And she said to me, I'm not leaving here until I die. So for me as a professional, that's a cue in the conversation to start advanced care planning. So we weren't having an advanced care planning discussion, we were just chatting generally. But for me, that was a cue in to say, oh, so she's obviously thought about dying, she knows she's dying, she knows that she wants to stay in her home to die. So I started the conversation and took it forward.
Paddy, you told me that you are very clear the place where you want to be cared for is here at home.
Yeah.
And this is the place where if you were able to choose to die, to be at home as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to go in a hospital bed.
Understood.
Yeah.
People need to not be afraid to ask. And that's where you can help with these discussions. So this lady, she's had a fall. She lives alone. She's been on the floor for 30 hours. And she has gone to hospital after her son, who's not local, couldn't reach her on the telephone. So she's not had a cardiac arrest, but she has had a fall. She's gone to hospital. She's in hospital. And we're now at the place where we're organising discharge planning for her. So what do you think her hope is for her discharge? What do you think she wants to do after she is safely allowed out of hospital?
I think she probably wants to go home.
Yeah. Do you think she wants to go? She does want to go home. She does want to go home. Her son doesn't feel she's safe to go home. She's had a fall. She's been on the floor for all that time. She's falling a lot. He thinks she's unsafe to go home. So he has spoken to the doctors and they're now arranging for her to go to a nursing home. This lady doesn't want to go to a nursing home. She wants to go home. So this is her advanced care planning. This is her care wishes.
When my mother was dying of cancer, nobody ever asked her. No one found it possible to have those conversations with her. And it was really painful to watch her keeping this hope alive that she was going to be there for us forevermore. And no one could get round to how you have the conversation that maybe she wouldn't be there. And I just think it would have been really special for her to have been able to talk to somebody rather than just about all the medical things, and just ask her what she wanted and what would make her feel better for the last days.
Do you find that most people aren't aware of the at-home options?
Yeah.
Because they're not really discussed unless you come across the fact that you need some support at home. Nobody knows where to get the support from or how to even find it.
So as part of the discharge planning from the hospital, if the assessment showed that she did meet the requirements to go to a nursing home, or that she did meet the requirements for a live-in carer, that was possible. But the key here is to know what she wants, and that she wants to go home.
And so we need to make sure that we've got everything in place to make sure we can support that. And one of those things is called a resuscitation form.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah, I've got one over there, I think. A yellow form, which my
that's
doctor
it.
sent me, yeah.
Yellow folder?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Can
You
I
go-
just
yeah, if you
have
go
a
and
look
get
at
it.
that?
It's simple. These folders are full of loads of things. Loads of things. But the main things are these. Do they want to be resuscitated? Do they know, if they're resuscitated, what that means?
Do I have to sign that?
No, you don't have to
Oh.
worry about it at all. It just sits in here
Yeah.
and it's available for anyone to see in the incidents in case your
Yeah.
heart stopped.
Yeah.
Right?
So if someone wants to die at home, usually that makes the decision for them as to whether they would like to be resuscitated or not. And this is where situations can become complicated. Because if you choose to be resuscitated, you will always go to hospital. Because after you're resuscitated, if you're successfully resuscitated outside of hospital, which is unusual, you will then go to hospital. Does that make sense? And for a lot of people, they don't realise that. They think paramedics come, resuscitate you at home, and you stay at home, everything's fine. They often don't realise that if you are successfully resuscitated, you go to hospital and that is where your treatment continues. They have to have that form. It has to be visible to the professionals who may be coming. Mm-hmm. So my advice would be to say, where is that documented? Is it available? Is the doctor aware? So sometimes it's just easier to sit down and be clear with that person what their wishes are, and you can always document it again. Mm-hmm. If someone's lost the Do Not Resuscitate form, you can do another one. At the end of the day, it's just a conversation that should, I think, happen informally with someone like a compassionate companion, someone where you can just chat about it. Not a formal appointment, not filling paperwork, not making it so much more than it actually is, just a conversation.
How are you feeling today?
I feel very well today. It's a good day today. Good. This week has been, some days have not been very good at all, and other days have been better, but the mornings are the worst part of my day. I'm afraid I've stopped taking some tablets I was given.
Right, because?
Because I didn't think they were being beneficial, and I made a decision that I wouldn't take them and see how things went, and touch wood, it's been better since I've stopped taking them.
So that was a good decision you made for yourself?
Well, I think you have to. I think people can give you tablets and things that they hope will help you, but it doesn't always go to plan.
Sure.
You know, it's my decision. You have to live your life the way you want to live your life in a way, with the help of other people.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, it has to be my decision.
Yeah, and you're very independent in that way, I think.
Oh, I'm a bit of a devil, really, aren't I?
You like to keep your independence.
I'm a bit, you'll never get another one like me. Since I had the diagnosis, and I must admit I swore at the doctor at the time, and said you could give me a better cancer thing, and I have thought, well, I can either be miserable, because I had the impression that I wasn't given that long, or you can get on with your life and make the best of what you've got.
I think it's taught me a great deal to be with somebody who is so determined to live well before they die, and somebody who is so open and honest about what's happening to them. And it's that journey that I've made with the companion that has been as much of an exchange, if you like, of what it is to live well and to prepare to die well.
But it's being able to talk to somebody and they know what you're talking about, which I found important. Found important that we have a laugh. We've spoken about the fact that the things you've done in life and the things that I've done in life, and when you come down to brass tacks, we're really not that different.
Paddy was diagnosed with lung cancer 3 weeks ago, and I knew that he lived on his own, and I was keen to share with him the opportunity to have a compassionate companion to support him through the non-medical needs that he might have.
Our friends and people stopped visiting. Isn't that weird?
Why do you think they stopped visiting?
Well, they're probably embarrassed. They probably think they're going to catch it or something. And they never mention the C word or... But like my friend Andy, were playing Scrabble with him the weekend. And he says, don't you think you're going to win because you're dying?
And that sort of sense of humour is right up your street,
that was
isn't it?
I laughed.
Yeah.
I said when we were playing the Scrabble, I said, don't you take advantage of me because I'm not very well? And they said, sod off, you bloody git. Which I was only joking anyway.
That's funny.
There needs to be much more open culture for talking about death and dying, and having people to just have conversations on a regular basis, fundamental, so important. I think, I mean, that's so crucial to, because as medics or as doctors, we have a very small snapshot of what the patient is like in a 10-minute consultation, especially as a GP or even as a palliative care doctor who gets 45 minutes or an hour. Even then, it's still a snapshot. And you know, the people that really get to know the patients are the carers, the nurses that go in, the therapists that they speak to, or their friends and family and that conversation, you know, and that process that the psyche has to go through in order to accept death, accept the changes that are happening within their body and their well-being, like mentally, and all the changes they've got to put in place.
Paddy, would you mind telling me a little bit about what you understand about your illness?
Well, I don't understand much really. I know I've got it, but I don't know how long it's going to last. Is it short term? Is it long term? It would be nice to know so I can sort my affairs out. I mean, I don't even know how to write a will, which I would like to do. I'll probably get Shawnee to do that for me again.
You have done one, actually.
I've done one, but
Yeah.
that's out of date years and years ago.
Oh, that's a shame, because I think I got everything. I'm not sure about that, Pads.
Well, sorry about that, but...
Paddy, if I can tell you a little bit about our plan with supporting you, if you like, with a compassionate companion. That's exactly one of the things that she also can help you with. If you want somebody who you don't know, who's impartial, then one of our compassionate companions has got, you know, that confidence and understanding and able to support people like you in being able to at least find out how to do that and make it happen for you.
With an old lady I used to work with, I used to go and visit her every week, and she'd been abandoned really by her family and left in a care home. And I used to go and listen to her talking about her past and growing up on a Suffolk farm and riding the big sort of Shire horses or whatever they were into the fields with her father. And she would love telling me those stories, but I never knew there was a way that I could have asked her about now and what would have been better for her now.
Paddy, you were telling me about your family, about your brothers and sisters. You're from a big family, aren't you?
7 sisters and 4 brothers there was.
Wow.
But like I said, I haven't told them, and I don't want to tell them. Because that's the same reason why I didn't tell any of my friends, because I don't want them being upset, so I'd got to just keep it quiet. Well, because I've got a sister that's dying already with cancer and it's gone to the brain. And she's got a lovely husband and family, and I don't want to tell them because the attention will be taken off her.
Paddy, we're going to be here for you.
Yeah.
And we're going to make sure you do get the support and care.
Yeah. Yeah, that lady that come the other day, she's lovely. And she bought a doggy.
Felicity?
Felicity, yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, even if the doggy ate half me biscuits.
The importance is having these honest conversations with people. And people are often scared. The doctor is, oh, I'll do whatever the doctor says. And that is changing over time. And people are learning to say, I don't want this. I don't want another test. I don't want an operation. I don't want dialysis.
The chemo, which was quite brutal, because I had 2 different types of chemo. And it was accumulative, and the more it accumulated, the worse I got.
Chemotherapy can be curative. So if you have chemotherapy, you will be cured. Or it can be palliative. You will have chemotherapy, but you won't be cured.
Then I thought I had enough of this. And I just told the consultant, actually he made the suggestion, although I'd already made my mind up before I got here, that I wasn't going to carry on. Because he said it would be counterproductive to keep going on with something that was making you so ill that you couldn't enjoy your life. And life is, what's the point of being here if you can't enjoy your life?
Sure. They can be as bold as to say, I know I'm not going to survive, but before that happens, who knows what will happen after that, and those are conversations we've had as well, but before that happens, I want to keep going to do the things, the activities that I've always done as far as I can, as long as I can, accept my limitations, and sometimes that's not at all easy. Those conversations are not easy.
Last year, I introduced one of our compassionate companions to a patient at his home with his wife. We sat and we talked about how he was feeling, the difficulties he was having, and how important it might be for him to have discussions that could be very difficult with his wife, but with the support of a companion. He died unexpectedly soon.
I felt that I got a lot from you afterwards. Mind you, I didn't, because I'd only met you twice before.
Yeah.
And I think I probably needed your input, shall I put, help, guidance, input, more after Ian died than before.
And do you feel you had quite a bit of support and help from the community around you? I know your neighbour's been amazing.
Yes, I've had. I've got two. Well, they're the same age as my children actually, but I'm very fond of them. And when Bramble died, which was awful, they came straight across, you know, and that was the first human contact I had. And Lena came in, she just opened her arms and I just went into them. I know we weren't supposed to, but it was awful. Absolutely awful.
The grieving process, it's a natural process. In other cultures, you might have a whole community experience that and share that grief instead of it being in isolation and thinking, what's wrong with me? I'm crying so much. Why does it come at me with waves? And it's a normal experience. And I think that's the key. It's a cycle, the cycle of life, and it's a normal process. Like releasing things good, and there's creative ways that you can deal with this healing process.
I've made a little garden, which is my remembrance to Ian. Don't think it's fit enough making a garden to remember your husband.
Not at all, not at all. And if you follow your heart, okay, to do something, and sometimes that can be courageous or it just can be just natural. It gives other people permission to do things like that, and if you're sharing that. I mean, that's what it's about. It's beautiful.
We can expect 1% of our population in a year to die, and that's a national figure, isn't it? 1% of the population can be expected, and that's pre-COVID, of course. And for us then, that's one patient every week. And being able to give them all of the support in every way they need is just impossible. I have to catch myself thinking, gosh, I've let all these people down. But what I'm remembering is that the medical profession is so limited in their capacity to do the medical stuff. And that's not that much that a patient actually does need. And that's when we're calling them patients, when they're people, around the time when they're being patients.
Yes.
That's where we aren't able to give because we don't have the resource or the training, and this is where the compassion, but we don't want to just say, oh, here you go community, you sort this person out. We want to work together so that we've got that communication with each other.
That's what I did. I went and got involved with things, but not everybody's got that confidence, and a lot of people they just dwell in the past.
To do the training course after already stepping in from the side was very empowering, absolutely fantastic to meet like-minded people who were already doing it in their community, all in one place, learning things at the same time was truly remarkable.
Compassionate communities are simply a way for communities to be, springing from a desire to be kind and to receive kindness, and really that's what this is all about, kindness and care within the community. It's not easy to talk about death or the choices one has as they approach the end of their life. So we offer training to people to give them the confidence to have these conversations. Sometimes though, people find themselves having those conversations unexpectedly in the course of their daily lives.
Doing what I do as a mobile mechanic, people tend to put a lot of trust in you. Where do I go to get my tyres done? Simple stuff.
Do you mean after someone's died?
Yeah, when they have to try and fill that space because their partner did everything, so now they don't know what to do.
It's not that you're just a car mechanic, you're actually everybody's friend as well. If you find that you're in that community setting and people are wanting to find out things and they feel that they can trust you, they can phone you even through their grief and bereavement and say, oh, Steve will know.
Well, it's really weird because I don't really feel that I'm doing anything out of the ordinary, but it's just something that I just like doing. I've got no problem in doing it. If somebody needs help, why not? I had a phone call from a customer who, in her days, fantastic lady, absolutely brilliant, loved her to pieces, great to talk to, and she was just a lovely, lovely person. And out of the blue, she phones up and she says, Steve, she says, I'm dying. But I need to know when the MOT is due on my car. So I had to look it up and tell her exactly what's what. And you don't know what to say to people like that. When they come out just so bluntly and just say it, what do you actually say to someone?
I talk openly about the fact that I am terminally ill. I know that. But if I talk to my daughter, especially the one who works in a hospital, oh, no, you mustn't talk about that. And she said, I don't want to talk about it. And I think, well, I can understand, but I don't understand. Is it because they're scared? Even though, it's going to happen? Yeah. I don't know. And that I find extremely difficult.
I've also learned about family relationships and how far on the person I see is in accepting what's happening to her, and perhaps less far the grown-up children are. Those are also the sorts of things that the companion can talk about, whereas they couldn't to the daughters perhaps, or the sons, or whoever else is in their lives.
It's about having a good old cup of tea, well, whatever you drink.
Bit of fennel, yes.
Ugh. Just having a conversation. It's not about what I can get out of you.
Sure.
Mind you do bring me goodies, which is quite nice.
The body knows what to do when it dies. It's a natural process, and I think we lose touch of that sometimes, and we give away our power when we've actually got what we need to deal with it inside ourselves.
Life is for the living, and if you've got to find out what you can do and what you can't. You've got to learn your limitations, but without experiencing it, you don't know. All you can do is try.
And if that makes a difference to a few people who then, at the end of their life, have worked out what they want, what their wishes are, then that's worth doing.
It's being there. That's what it is, for whatever is presenting. And yeah, I think that's the most important thing, listening, really listening. Compassion is not a philosophy. It is not an attitude. It is not even a set of kind or considerate behaviours. It is not a doing. It is a being. True compassion is an inner choice for a certain kind of elevated love. This courageous love extends beyond our own heart to feel into the heart of another in an unconditional embrace.
Communities are held together by people being connected and strengthened through care and kindness. With ongoing informal training and regular group support, the number of compassionate companions are growing. If you live in Suffolk and would like to learn more about being a compassionate companion, please contact us at www.compassionate-communities.co.uk